So it's Moon In Me time, and as always, you at this time, if you're on Moon In Me, you know that you either are in those threads and you're feeling the pulses and you're feeling the vibrations of your own emotions. So Moon In Me gives you that pulse, that awareness, that also that knowing, okay, that you are part of the creation of your own life. And what Moon In Me teaches you or raises your awareness to is that, again, right, you choose your planets, you choose your star sign, meaning your zodiac sign. Okay, so somebody asked me, okay, I don't understand I'm a Cancer, but the full moon's in Capricorn. And that's exactly what's happening right now, right? So I'm a Cancer, right? So it means that you got born into Cancer, but it's a full moon in Capricorn. How does that work? So it can get very confusing, but not really. Because what it does is the moon cycles go through each of the 12 points of the zodiac, the constellation. And it touches those threads, okay, where you have those coordinates, being you, the creator, and being you, the emotional being, but also being you, the spiritual universal thread of your own life, right? So I know the words might seem a little bit out there, but they're really not. So what you want to look at is the simplicity as much as you possibly can. And that's why I introduced the I Am thread into Moon In Me, because once you start getting to tap into this I Am presence, which we are all part of, it's written in every book, every sacred book, in every religion, right, in every language, there will be an I Am presence. And that I Am presence is that presence of the light, right? So why the moon and why me? Moon, meaning your emotional self, that represents how you are emotionally traveling and journeying and creating. Your ability to create the life that you want is going to be dependent on the bandwidth of your emotional capability. And that's not today, tomorrow, it's going to be always. Your ability to control those aspects that are not you. So that's why Moon In Me is so vital, and I think it's important, and I can see a very big difference between the people that actually work the Moon In Me and start understanding, oh, I get that. Oh, I start to understand that. It's not that you start to understand, it's you starting to connect more with who you are, and that shifts and changes everything as the ripple effect unfolds for you. So we're in the month of Cancer. So Cancer brings in this awareness of, you know, family and protection and feelings and mobility and livelihood and the things that are important to a family. Think of the symbol of the crab. The symbol of Cancer is the crab, and you know, the crab doesn't walk in a straight line. So how does it go? It goes from lane to lane. So it goes from the way it thinks, and it goes to the way it feels, and it goes to the way it thinks, it goes to the way it feels, but it gets there. And does it move fast? Yes. Okay. Is it always in hiding of its own feet? Yes. So you've got to always look at the general aspects of that. So why is that important? Why? Because you go look at, all right, so what does Cancer mean? And for the Moon In Me workers and the people that are doing Moon In Me, I go to more, what's the I Am thread of Cancer? I feel, right? And if you don't know this information, it's on page 52 of the Moon In Me notebook. And if you don't have the notebook, you know, just DM me, reach out to myself or Dana or Michael, and we'll get it out to you, okay? But what that teaches you, start understanding, okay, so everybody is part of an I Am thread, right? So Cancer is I feel, but that's just the month. The moon cycles come in, right, in an infinite cycle of these lunations that trigger these points so that you raise your awareness to what you are working on, meaning you are working towards your higher self, your higher good, right? So when it's a full moon, it will say immediately, time to open up your doors, time to open up your windows, and time to let go of those things that emotionally no longer what? Serve you. But because it's a Cancer month, right, and it's a full moon in Capricorn, right, so it's saying, the I'm threads are saying, I need to master, these emotions that are in my house of Cancer, which is my family. So it's really significant and opportune, right? The signals are really powerful when you start raising your awareness how the ingredients, the numbers, the stars, the planets, they all come with these wisdoms. And how do you know that? Well, you know that by a sense of learning or sharing or claiming those inner wisdoms that you come with, right? So I master. So what do you need to master in your home setting? What emotions are there in your family unit, right, that are ready for you to open up the doors, for you to forgive, for you to let go, for you to surrender, for you to give up, for you to walk away from, for you to re-choose. So full moons give you those opportunities because they amplify those emotions. And there's such a beautiful line up here because there's the space of you knowing, okay, who you are, and then you recognizing that you're not being yourself. By how? By the way that you're acting. So if you're on the Moon in Me, which for those people that are on the video, you're going to see that you are. And for those that are looking at this and you're not on the membership, I invite you to be part of it. They're mini sessions, but they're downloadable channels of incredible information. I was just reading this. I'm like, oh my goodness, Dana, this is amazing. This is absolutely incredible because I'm going through this myself, right? So it goes and it gives you the stars, the numbers, the planets, and the sun and the moon bring all our highlighted blessings and insights to support the inner spirit of its awakening. And that's not just this full moon, that's every lunar cycle. What changes are the symbols and the vibration and the frequency of each of those planets. So there's a lineup right now between Mars and Virgo. And why this is so incredible is because Mars, through the past lunations and through the past eclipses that we've been having, right, and we've all been going through these chaotic turns of events, right, where the dust hasn't settled, all right, the ground hasn't stopped moving, right, the volcanoes haven't stopped erupting, and the lava is coming up, right, and the heat is on, and the energy is moving, and things are coming to the surface to be cleared, right? So Mars and Virgo are accentuating, okay, that you can choose to fight, but you need to understand, okay, what you're fighting for and what you're standing for and where it's coming from. Because if you are programmed from your old beliefs and from where you have been brought up, and that information, that book of knowledge is not your truth, then you are distorting yourself. And that's a big one because Mars is coming in with Virgo and it's kind of clumping you, and it's literally saying you're the one that's responsible for all of your actions, all of the things that you're doing. So it matters now how you choose, okay, to perceive what your truth is and how you feel about it. And I'm going to read what I wrote because it's paramount to a space of evolution. This is why we actually do Moon in Me. We go to Moon in Me so that we can go break down these words and we can understand, because every sentence that has been written and channeled and shared in Moon in Me will pulse differently to the reader that's reading it. And you've got to understand that. And if you don't understand that now, hang in there if you want to. And then if you don't understand this at all, then maybe this Moon in Me is not for you, right? This is for somebody that is really looking to double down on their work and getting into their spiritual self and mastering their emotions and their mental clarity and evolving. You know, this is not for the person that's just going to read and go, oh, you know, Virgo said this, and you know, this is not for it. This is for a special community that is wanting to raise vibration. And this is for the community that's wanting to raise responsibility for their self-actions and master yourself on the journey of evolution through a process of joy and celebration and unfolding the traits that you come with. So the more you're on this wisdom and on these threads of acknowledging you and what you are and who you are, you start seeing the beauty of who you are and why you've come to do the things that you've come to do, and how the cosmic dance is not separate from you, it's part of you. You're part of your own sun and moon and how you feel and what you do. But you have to pay attention. If you're constantly in fear and if you're constantly anxious and if you're constantly distorted, you have to learn about who you are. That's what Moon in Me is about. Okay, it teaches you, because it teaches you to ride those waves. This sentence here, if you have got this, I want you to go, it's in the second segment of the paragraph, and it's right at the bottom. It says, this is due to, okay, so let's go back here. The moon and the sun are lined up for us to act and take inspired action. Now, what's the difference between an inspired action and what's the difference between just an action? An action is a reaction to somebody. Somebody gives you a snarky remark and you just give it right back. That's an action, that's a reaction. Inspired action is you pausing and staying poised and remembering, not worth it. Not my jam, not my bat. I don't need to play ball here. Got it? But it's your choice. It all depends where you are. How was your day? How did you run your day? What are you thinking about? How are you feeling? Because all those things matter, right? But the sun and the moon is doing that. This is the conjunction in this full moon. This full moon is not just bringing in Capricorn. Capricorn's I am thread is a master. So you're called in to look at yourself and say, what am I needing to master in my home front of Cancer, which is your family, your home, your inner workings of how you feel, okay? And if you want to keep it very, very, very basic, it's telling you what feelings do you need to, what do you feel that really needs to go so that you can master your true self? This is so great because it goes to, so be alert to what is meant for rebuilding and what is meant for release. So you've got to know what within you, what feelings do you have that you want to rebuild, and what feelings you know they're just junk. They're just like passé. They've been there. And so what? Yeah, so you got angry. So what? And you get angry and you get angry and you're just going to burst. You're going to be that erupting volcano over and over and over again. Write a letter to yourself. Clear out those emotions. Take a salt bath. That's what the tools are for, so that you can accelerate that release aspect, okay, that is tightly holding on, right? So what it says here goes, mastering your emotions is a key vital piece to achieve here. And it would be, why? Because it's a full moon in Capricorn. Capricorn's I am thread is a master. So you mastering your emotional self is key. Now here's the big one that I'm just going to focus on this, and I'm going to put this down, because this is due to Mars being in Virgo. As you become responsible for your own actions, bringing in light and self-responsibility, which Pluto not only transforms but awakens for the regeneration cycle within you. You want to read that over and over again, because what this is an opportunity right now. So you've got to understand, people try and do the full moon cycles weeks past the full moon. Now, can you do it? Absolutely, but you're going to have to ride the waves differently. Okay? It's like catching a wave and riding it, so much more fun, right? Trying to catch the wave you're never going to ride it because you're always behind the wave current, right? So it's just also being in tune with your natural cycles. That's why the moon cycles come in and remind you, stay in the rhythm. There's a new moon, and there's a waning moon, and a waxing moon, and a full moon. It goes, and it carries on, and it goes and it swings. But a lot of people go, oh, I'm doing full moon now, and then they go try and do new moon work. And then they forget about all the in-between pieces and interconnected pieces that are communicating with you, the way you think, the way you feel, the way you act. All these things, all these details are important. That's Mars. And Virgo. Virgo is being beautiful, sensitive, intuitive, empathic. And she's saying, okay, I'm at peace with you, Mars, but stay true to the details because I need you to pay attention to details. If Mars is going to come in aggressively with Virgo and going and ignoring all these things, Virgo is going to get snarky and irritated and frustrated and really resentful. And then Mars is going to turn the corner and is going to go to war. That's the contrast of you, me, and everybody on the planet. The minute we start to understand that there's a light in every planet and there's the contrast in every planet, there's a light in every star and there's a darkness in every star, and there's a light and contrast in everything, then you start to take responsibility for where you are. If you're communicating in a space, okay, that you know you need to master, and you're communicating aggressively, well, right now, Mars is going to say, you better be responsible for how you're communicating, especially if it's passive-aggressive communication, because then that opens up other things, right? And there's so much for me to talk about here that we are actually going to do an unedited piece of Knowing You that supports Moon in Me, because Moon in Me is just like a chunk of information. Okay, not a chapter of information, not like paragraphs of information. And you guys see, it's 3, 4, 5 pages at the best of time, and that's not even everything. So what are your priorities for right now? Most of you haven't really done the work. Well, it's a full moon in Capricorn. All right, are you mastering the feelings that are no longer supporting you? Because that's not your focus. Your focus is, are you mastering the feelings that do support you? Okay, and are you taking responsibility for everything that you are communicating? Because that is important, because Neptune is in the game, and Neptune, okay, is making sure that your waters are clear, because Pluto is reigning the game. Pluto is the staff is up, and Pluto is saying, dream. And dream big, but pay attention to the waters that you are carrying within you. And meaning, what does that mean? It means that if you're emotionally disturbed, you're going to disturb the waters. Your undercurrent is going to be sparky and moving and turbulent. Okay? If your Mars and your peaceful warrior is peaceful, then Virgo is going to show up passionately, intuitively, and just sensitively showing you how to serve yourself so that you're able to master this feeling that is inside your home, that runs you, your family, what's important for you, what's of value, right? I mean, there's such a tremendous amount of information here. But I just wanted to check in, reset our communication with Moon in Me, because dimming the lights in this platform is not the answer. People need information, but the information that you can understand, okay, and breed yourself and do make sure that those are connecting factors for you. First thing we need to know is, all right, if you are Moon in Me, okay, then you're a person that has been called for a little bit more consciously. Then you're being invited. Learn a little bit more about your own moon, okay, which means your emotional self. Your own sun, which means your zodiac sign. And then Moon in Me also calls you forward to say, hey, waking up, knock, knock. You're part of the I am presence. What's your I am thread? Because that plays a big role then with all the other zodiac signs as they come each lunar cycle. And you have an agreement, okay, with yourself, your higher self, to master, or to create, or to have, or to believe, or to serve, or to weigh. And all those things that I've been saying are I am threads throughout the zodiac. So it's so much easier, okay, if you like take the time and go, oh, okay, that's the point. But if you're just jumping in here, it starts like, oh, this is a lot. No, it's not. You're the one that's a lot. You're already a thinker. You're already a feeler. You're already a human being, a being becoming, because you're a spiritual being. Your vessel is, you come with a lot. It's you that doesn't understand you. And so what Moon in Me does, and especially this cycle, gives you that opportunity to just break it down. Take one of those sentences that really goes, that touches home for you, and go, work on that sentence. But don't do it next week. Do it now. Because next week, it doesn't have the same energy. There are other doors that are opening, there are other waves, there are other portals, and right now there's a portal for everything. Okay? Everyone's entitled to their own portal, so everyone's got a creator somewhere. So you have to be super, 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 super discerning and attuned to who you're being in this full moon. What are you releasing? Okay? And most important, if you were to close just your eyes, right? What do you want to master within yourself? Just that. What do you want to master within yourself? And then honor the universal laws and rhythms, because it's a full moon. Open up your heart and just release the things that are blocking you from mastering that very first thing that you want for you. Okay? Happy full moon.